beep, beep, beep. Morning all. How the devil are we? Another day, another dollar, as they say. Good to be speaking to you once again. Please do come and join the Warrior Teachers. That's the most important thing. We need more numbers for February, so I can keep going. Other than that, buy me a coffee, usual stuff. That's enough of that. Let's get straight into this. I am now of the opinion, he says. Opinion. Notice, opinion. Don't lambast me. Opinion, right? That we are not, per se, using laws that already exist to deal with the public sector. Now, by that I mean we have serious problems in a number of regions and a number of areas, not least of all the one that's been on everybody's lips over the last few days due to the coverage, which is finally broken from a dam of silence, or what appears to be silence, which is the issue of child safeguarding and child protection. But really, this should go side by side with other particular problems with the public sector when it comes to, for example, the promotion of gender identity, ideology, queer theory, and trans across their estate and to the public. To that end, I thought, interesting. What recourse is there in law that we actually should be using that we're not? So I went to have a look, and to say the least, it's complicated. Right, you know these things are complicated because it's the law, but I'm trying to understand it in a way that means it could make some sort of sense to us as lay people, and then we'll just trust the legal guys that they'll understand it better than I do. But what I'm concerned about is the fact that this is not being carried out by the police, because this is not like, oh, naughty boy. This is a criminal offence, and it's quite serious, and it's called misconduct in public office. And it ties in with something else which I've covered before in relation to Manchester Pride, the idea of the safeguarding requirements and legal onuses upon councils to safeguard children in a kind of net around them that ensures that they're looked after. So let's take a look at this. I mean, misconduct in public office is not the same as malfeasance in public office, which is a separate thing altogether, right? It's malfeasance, though. Misconduct in public office is different. It's a legal term, as you can see here, that describes when someone who works in an official job, like a government position or public service role, does something very wrong or neglects their duties on purpose, which harms the public's trust in them. And here's a breakdown, right? Simple breakdown I've got here, right? Who it applies for? For people who are considered public officers. This includes roles like police officers, politicians, or anyone else whose job involves serving the public interest. Which makes me pause for thought there, because in the first paragraph there it says, neglects their duties on purpose. So I'm Mr., concerned citizen, okay, after what I saw at Manchester Pride with the two girls. And there are thousands of concerned citizens who've written about the rape cases, which are obviously much more severe. So I'm Mr. Concerned Citizen, and I write, providing evidence and links and everything else to my local MP, to my local council, to the head of the council, whoever it may be, saying, I need you to look at this because I think it's a serious safeguarding issue. And that person does nothing. Is that neglecting their duties on purpose? That's what I'd like to know, whether it is legally or not. And it strikes me that it probably is, in which case, what is my recourse as a member of the public? Can I call the police and say this is what's happened? Is that what I'm able to do? Somebody may be able to tell me in the comments from our legal teams. In which case, how do I do that? What do I do if the police don't take any notice? Do they then get done for misconduct in public office? Is this kind of thing that goes up the line? What about MPs? It's an interesting piece of legislation, and I would like very much to know how it could be used in a more robust way by us in pursuing these people who have willfully neglected truth, reason, and reality. So it has to involve, as it says here, willful neglect means the person knew they had a duty but chose not to do it or did it poorly on purpose. Right? So is my writing to Manchester Council about Pride, about those two young girls, and them doing nothing, is that willful neglect? You tell me again. And willful misconduct, the person did something they knew was wrong while acting in their official role. Well, ignoring it, isn't that wrong? Is it me, or does that cover both? The harm, the action or inaction, has to be serious enough that it damages the trust people have in that public role or institution. And the punishment, if convicted, this is a very serious offence. You could go to jail for life because it's considered a crime that can be tried only in a higher court. So that the actual punishment can be up to life. So, as an example I've got here, this might happen if a police officer takes a bribe, a public official abuses their power for personal gain, or someone in a position of authority intentionally fails to act when they should, leading to harm. Now, does the harm have to be there, or does the potentiality for harm cover this? And the Crime Prosecution Service, the CPS, decides if there's enough reason to prosecute someone for this. They look at how serious the misconduct was, if there was any actual or potential harm to the public, and whether there's enough evidence to go to court. The main thing to remember is that really this law is about keeping them honest, I think. That's the most important thing that we ought to remember in this respect. Because they do, for example, public bodies do have a responsibility for safeguarding children. So, which again applies to local council, schools, the police, health services, and any other public organisation that deals with children. Their key responsibilities: protecting children, working together, having procedures, and training. Staff in these organisations must be trained to recognise signs of harm and know what to do about it. Well, if pushing trans on children isn't a sign of harm, I don't know what is. And we have caste now. So I'm asking myself the question: why can't I just go straight to the police? And if the police aren't acting, what do I do about it then? Because this is the situation I find myself in. I sent my report on Manchester Pride to all of the councillors in the area. Nothing, not one response from any of them. Not one response from any of them, least of all Bev Craig. What's going on in much more serious situations that we are seeing with the Pakistani Muslim grooming gangs? What's happening there? Why aren't the police arresting people? I think this is a question that needs to be answered. And I, for one, don't have an answer, but I'd like to know it. Now, I know Keir Starmer, when he was Crown Prosecution Service, he worked for them, but also after that, did actively go after these people. Make no bones about it, he did. But we're in a situation now where people are calling for an inquiry, and they're saying, well, an inquiry was already done. And it's that I'm going to take a look at next, because I want to see what the recommendations of that inquiry were, and why the Conservative government didn't take them on board. But we'll look at that for another day. Up to that, over and above that, anybody help me out here? Why can't we just simply go straight to the police about these people and have the police take these reports seriously? And when they don't, who do we go to next? Interesting, isn't it? It seems to me that there's really a lot of misconduct in public office going on. But I'm interested to hear your thoughts, because the legal route is really now where we should be going in terms of, I don't mean legal, I mean criminal. The criminal route is where I think we should be going. And I'll be interested to hear from you as to whether you think I'm right about that. Okay, thanks for watching, as always. Go on, buy me a coffee. Go and be a warrior teacher. You have a great day. More tomorrow. I'll see you later. Bye-bye, good people. Bye-bye.